Oscar fever. Hope you got it too.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem.
Oh, miss somebody and now it's all you gotta do.
And the Academy Award for Best Picture.
You're impossible. La La Land.
The Oscar goes to James Cameron for Titanic.
I'm the king of the world!
I got the Oscar fever.
I got the Oscar fever. Do you have it too? Yeah, random stream that I decided to do because I haven't had a lot of time to be focusing on my channel, but Sunday is the Oscars and it's a very, very weird year. So I thought, let's talk about our kind of like predictions, what we're pumped about, what we're not so pumped about. There's a lot of stuff I'm not so pumped about. So we'll get into all of that. Let's before I bring up like nominees and all that stuff, I'm just going to hit the chat really quickly. I know this was like definitely not a planned stream, but when in Rome, as Ron Burgundy likes to quote wrongly all the time. Tyler, glad to see you streaming again. Seems like it's been a while. It has absolutely been a while. I think the last time I streamed was when the Oscar nominations had come out. So that's been quite a bit. Justin Patton, nice to see you there. The Oscars isn't going to be good. It'll be something to watch. Good to see you back. And I think that was for Tracy. Yes, agreed. Thank you. I'm happy to be back. It's not an exciting Oscar year, but I think the fact that Conan O'Brien is hosting it makes it better. It's kind of like, oh, like Daddy's going to take care of things. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like Conan O'Brien makes everyone feel better. I think everyone loves him. And I think that it's going to be like a new, fresh host since we've had Jimmy Kimmel for a while. And I really liked Jimmy Kimmel's hosting, like maybe the first 2 years he did it. And then I feel like last year it was very lackluster and I didn't love it. So I'm excited for Conan O'Brien. I think he's just going to make everything better. So it'll be worth watching for me for that. Should have been La La Land. Oh my goodness. That was the funniest screw up. One of the funniest in Oscar history, I think. I feel like too, like both of them like just had like rekindled a romance like right before they went out and did that, because just the way she talks to him, she's like, oh, he's impossible. It's like, girl, like get those rose-colored glasses off for 5 seconds. But yeah. Holland Notes, nice to see you. And Luke, I am doing well. Things have been chaotic, but I'm very, very doing well. So let's bring up the nominees and let's, because before I had more of a speculative interpretation of what the nominees were. Now I've seen, let's see, I have 2 more to go. I'm in the middle of Nickel Boys currently, trying to fit everything in, but I've seen much more than I saw the first time that we talked about these things. So I'm going to bring this up, and then, your feedback as well is, I'd love to hear your feedback, because I think there's just some crazy stuff going on this year. And we're just going to talk about the Best Picture nominees. If we look at this, it's, I'm going to get Luke's comment down, and then we can get into this. Nothing here is kind of like exciting for it to win. Anora, I thought was fine. I don't think it's Sean Baker's best. I don't really understand how people felt that a ton of screaming throughout a movie was not annoying. Every time Anora screamed, there was all this shouting. I wanted to like disappear from that. Maybe because I'm around a ton of people at my job. And I find that it's like too overstimulating sometimes to like hear that amount of screaming in a movie. I get it was going for like slapstick humor, but it just fell flat to me. And I feel like it felt out of place in a Sean Baker film. But I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that. So, so, I mean, I'm fine with it being nominated. I think there's like brilliant work within the film. but as a whole, I was incredibly disappointed. Brutalist, I am going to be watching literally on Sunday before the Oscars to fit that one in. A Complete Unknown, I just watched it. So I feel like A Complete Unknown, to be perfectly honest, has no purpose of being nominated for Best Picture. I think that film is about the acting. As far as like storytelling, like the movie's a vibe. Like if you like are a fan of Bob Dylan, like the movie is a total vibe. You are totally set in that time period. Did I learn anything new about Bob Dylan that I didn't already know about? No. And I'm not even a Bob Dylan expert. Like I am a Bob Dylan fan. I went through a big Bob Dylan phase in high school, but like I didn't learn more than I already knew, and I don't know that much. So like I knew about the whole Joan Baez thing, and like I knew he was very temperamental, and like and the whole Woody Guthrie thing. Like I didn't really feel like it was anything that it was like actually trying to say. I think, there's such a strong geniusness to Bob Dylan, and I get that. But I think as a whole, the film was really clearly just about the acting, and everyone in the movie is absolutely incredible. That's kind of how I feel about the Apprentice film as well, which we can talk about, since we're talking about two biopics essentially. I mean, The Apprentice. I think the big misconception about The Apprentice is that people think it's like a Donald Trump biopic, and it is not a Donald Trump biopic. It is literally the relationship that Donald Trump had with Roy Cohen. And I keep there's been so many. I feel like I keep screwing up that name, but it's Roy Cohen. Cohen. You guys can correct me on that one. He's been portrayed in movies before by like Al Pacino and I think even Nathan Lane played him at one point. But yeah, so the Apprentice is really about their relationship and Donald Trump being the apprentice and learning from him. And I like that's a film that I think the first two acts are incredibly strong. And then the third act, it doesn't matter about spoilers because we all know what's happening now. So, but I think the film kind of like transitions so quickly from the audience having a very neutral opinion of Donald Trump into being like super negative too quickly. Like, yes, like we all know what he wound up as, but like the switch of that and the transition of that is almost like you blink and it's like kind of like a semi different person. I kind of feel like they cut maybe 20 minutes, and I probably needed that 20 minutes that they cut just to make that third act really, really work. But the acting in that is incredible. And like, it's been talked about. I just saw it on Twitter too. People are talking about, Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, which I absolutely loved. A Real Pain. That's one of my favorite movies of the year. I think that it's kind of interesting though that Kieran Culkin keeps winning every Best Supporting Actor for A Real Pain, when like Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, like that performance is, to me, that's an Oscar performance. I think Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain is phenomenal, but it's also kind of like watching him in Succession. And I think it's not necessarily like the biggest reach in the world, even though it's very, 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 very good. However, when you watch Jeremy Strong in The Apprentice, like you don't feel like you're watching Kendall Roy. Like you don't feel like you're watching that member of that family and the older brother, one of the older brothers and all that stuff. It's like a completely different character. You don't even really see Jeremy Strong in it, so I kind of feel like Jeremy Strong is kind of getting completely thrown to the wayside just because of what the film is about, and it kind of drives me absolutely crazy. It's kind of like I'm so glad Sebastian Stan got nominated because he's also phenomenal in the movie as well. And I brought this up on, if you watch Bone Bridger, I've brought this up about how like Sebastian Stan didn't do like a parody. Like we all see like, so, my favorite parody of Donald Trump is on SNL. The guy that does him currently is phenomenal. But we all see like every comedian kind of do their own version of Donald Trump. I feel like Sebastian Stan was like, you saw like very like the certain mannerisms and the way he moves his lips and the way he like gestures, but it was like so grounded, and it was almost, you could feel it was like him as the younger version of himself. So I think like those two performances absolutely deserve to be nominated. And in hindsight, I kind of feel like Jeremy Strong should be the winner of Best Supporting Actor in this category. I know we're stuck on Best Picture right now, but we were talking about a complete unknown, and how I don't think that movie deserves a Best Picture nomination. But it is about the acting and how great it is. And Timothée Chalamet is incredible in that. But I don't think that the film itself is like up to the standards. Also, and to that point, I don't think that The Apprentice film is up to the standards of Best Picture because of the third act and how they handle the transition of Donald Trump's personality. I'm going to go to the chat really quick, and then we will get back to it. Okay. Yes, Oscars is almost here. Jason, the old millennial, thank you so much for joining. Honora was super annoying. I know. Every time the Russians finally shut her up, I was like, thank God. Like, I think that's the biggest problem about this movie. Because at the end, and this is not a spoiler, because I'm not going to say what happens at the very end. And I'm talking about the very last shot, which is very intimate, and it's very raw, and it's very real. I felt absolutely nothing for her. And I think that if Sean Baker had created a much better avenue for us to fall in love with her, then that ending would have been one of the most powerful endings of all time. Like, I totally get what Sean Baker was trying to do with that ending. Like, no question. But my God, I didn't care. I was like, okay, get over it, girl. Like, who cares? Like, you don't mean anything. Because her character did not mean anything to the audience. And like, maybe that's part of all. And maybe that is what Sean Baker was going for. But then don't try to like emotionally manipulate us properly and not actually give us anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a very emotionally manipulative ending in a good way. But it didn't get us there because we just did not care about this character. And I know, again, I'm in the minority, but like, thank you, Jason, because I could not stand all that screaming in that film. I thought it was just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, Luke, Nora is my pick for Best Picture, but I definitely understand where you're coming from. Yeah, like there's like great artistry with the direction and like cinematography. And like, I love, like, there are certain like elements of the film that work really, really, really well. And I love that it's kind of like the fairy tale that is come to real life is not like, she was a fool the whole time. Like, I get that. And I totally get that. And that is something that Sean Baker likes to play with in themes of his films. But I just needed to care more about her for it to impact me. And I did not care about her at all. I cared about her in like the very beginning, but once she got kidnapped and was sitting on the couch and screaming and all that stuff, I was just like, I can't. She's acting like a 5-year-old, not, Okay. Stuck at work, but I'll listen for sure. Hi, David. Thanks so much for joining today. Whatever happened to Donald Trump? Yeah, exactly. Who is that? The Apprentice, I didn't think was a good movie. It's just not for me. Well, like, I don't know. And if you don't like political things, or, well, it's like, see, that movie's not even really that political. It's just like a biopic of like, it's not, again, it's not even a biopic. I just contradicted myself. It's not a biopic. It's a little time capsule of time, in the, late 70s and throughout the 80s, branching on the early 90s of Donald Trump in New York and his influence. Roy Cohn. I keep wanting to say Cohen, and I know that's wrong. So please, it's been. I got to get that together. But you guys know who I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was again, the first 2 acts I thought were really good. I agree. I think Real Pain, compared to some of the other nominations, I think A Real Pain could have gotten a Best Picture nomination. Yeah, like it has so much more to say than A Complete Unknown did. Is that I don't know. I learned nothing and Bob Dylan, and so people could say, well, like the vibe is good, and like I agree all that. Like I did feel I time traveled to that era. But like if you're doing a biopic like Bob Dylan, like give us some information. Like do something. Like I know he's a very aloof guy to begin with, but like give us like the fly on the walls perspective. And I feel like we really didn't get that at all. What is annoying is that we're likely to have 4 lead performances win Oscars this year. We're very likely going to have 4 lead performances. So you're saying, okay, well, we can look at that real quick. If you're saying that like the people that are winning are all leads, I mean, Zoe Saldana just should not win at all. I think that's the biggest mistake that the Academy has ever made. I don't even understand. Okay, now I remember the last time I had this stream, I had not seen Amelia Perez yet, and I usually cannot stand people on YouTube that talk badly about a movie they haven't seen. I just had some weird feeling that I just and I went open-minded. I went into Amelia Perez so open-minded, and it is one of the worst pieces of garbage I've ever seen in my life. And the fact that an actress keeps winning best best supporting actress for this is insane. Like I feel like everyone took crazy pills, and I can. There's 3 examples I'm going to give you right now too. I know for a fact that the Academy did not actually watch most of these movies because I recently watched Nickel Boys. And you know what got nominated for best cinematography was Amelia Perez. Do you guys know that, like, if you've seen Nickel Boys, it's all shot from like a one person's perspective. So like the camera is you, like the audience member is the camera. So like you are just having interactions with everything around you, and then when you see what you look like yourself, they're the like impossible shots. It's that image that's in the trailer that's on an iron, like a metal iron, and you see a little reflection. Or like it's all reflection based. Like how the hell did that not get nominated for best cinematography? But yet we're gonna give it to Amelia Perez. Like, are we kidding? Like, I don't understand. Like everyone took absolute crazy pills this year. Okay. Let's get back into things. Luke says Sebastian Stan is great in The Apprentice, but I think he should have been nominated for A Different Man. I haven't seen A Different Man. I heard he's fantastic in that. But I do think that it was probably one of the most challenging things in the world to portray a young Donald Trump in this current state. And I think that, the film, I think the problem with the film too, not that I think it's a problem. I like just a realistic viewpoint of things. But I think people either wanted it to be a complete like expose of how horrible of a person he was, or people wanted it to be like a glorification of how amazing he is. Like it was like so black and white of like what people wanted from this movie, and that's why it didn't do well. And people, especially during the election time. But I think that like if your objective is to just make like a little time capsule of what this man was like during a time period and who he was influenced by, I mean, mission accomplished, except for the third act. But like besides that, like I think I enjoyed watching it. The first 2 acts for sure. Let's see here. Max is at work chiming in. How's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I got the Oscar fever. Yeah, we all have the Oscar fever, and we also have plenty of Oscar headaches this year because we're very confused. Tyler Wolf says, as much as I like most best animated features, it sucks that they never get best picture consideration, especially when most of them are better than these picks. You know what, Tyler? That is an excellent point. I'm really glad that the composer for The Wild Robot got a best score nomination because that is very rare as well. I know we were all very disappointed. Daniel Pemberton, I believe that's his name, did the Across the Spider-Verse score and did not get nominated. Yeah, it's weird because like The Wild Robot and Inside Out 2 and Flow, like all these films are like astronomically better than some of the ones that are nominated for Best Picture. If we're gonna Better Man, I liked more than A Complete Unknown because I learned more about Robbie Williams than I did Bob Dylan. Yeah, like so that's a great point. Yeah, and I think that it is a challenge to do a Bob Dylan movie biopic because of how aloof he's been in his life, and he is still alive. So it's not like anyone's gonna really be like giving any extra juicy details that maybe he preferred not to be out there. But yeah, it was a very tame film. I think it was very accurate though, as far as production design. And I thought Timothée Chalamet and everyone in the cast was absolutely incredible. Surely Amelia Perez can't be worse than Cimarron, the actual worst best picture. See, I've heard of that movie. I've never seen it, but like, yeah, sometimes like just like the movie Crash, like that wasn't that should not have won. Green Book. I mean, there's definitely a plethora where they totally got it wrong. I think the difference is though is that Amelia Perez got 13 Oscar nominations. So we're talking about a movie that got the same Oscar nominations as like Godfather Part 2 and like Lord of the Rings and Oppenheimer. You know what I mean? It's like, what is going on, people? The Academy voters are on crazy pills. Yes, they absolutely are. There's no question about it. Amelia Perez is garbage. The Academy has seriously lost their minds for giving away 13 nominations. I agree. And I don't understand how we still keep giving Zoe Saldana awards for it. Like, I love her as an actress. She's not good in this movie because you can't be good in a movie when you have a horrible director, horrible writing, horrible like music. Everything was so bad. It's like blasphemous. And they're not giving it to Ariana Grande, who absolutely deserves the best supporting actress nomination to win. You know what I'm saying? It's like oh, this is why I'm telling you. And then Challenger's not getting a best score nomination. I'm telling you, people did not watch movies this year. I don't know if it was they were too distracted from the election or what was going on, but no one that voted watched everything. There's just absolutely no way with these types of results. The Wild Robot should have been on for. Yeah, you know what, Luke? I second that because there's like 2 or 3 that absolutely could have been swapped out for the Wild Robot. Don't watch Cimarron. It's absolutely not worth it. I won't. Thank you. I mean, maybe I will out of curiosity, but thanks for putting it back on my radar. Robbie Williams wasn't afraid to tell the dark side of his story and how much of an asshole he was in the early stages of his life. Yeah, that's great. People, when you're young, it's easy to just like make a lot of mistakes. And the fact that he was like, let's deep dive into that, my past that's maybe not be likable. That's great. I'm glad, I'll check it out at some point. I think it was a very interesting creative choice to make himself a monkey in a biopic. So, let's go back here. So, okay. I think if we really look at this list, the Academy puts it's all alphabetical order listed by category. Okay, that's an interesting way to do things. Yeah, we were on cinematography. Amelia Perez. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. So best directing. Again, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez. Like, what did he direct? Like bad? Like just he wins the director for directing the most bad scenes you ever seen. People that didn't actually speak Spanish like fluently had to my god, that movie's just such a mess. The Substance, I would love if Coralie won. It probably won't go to her. I don't really get James Mangold, to be honest. After seeing A Complete Unknown, I don't really get it. So I know the Academy loves a good biopic though. I'm just quickly seeing here if there's anything else I need to really get into. I'm glad that we're not going to be able to hear any songs. Did you guys notice that too? They decided like they're not going to do any songs that are nominated for best song. Thank goodness, because there are like 3 Amelia Perez songs, and yeah, it would have been hilarious, and maybe it would have been eye-opening to people, being like, "Wait, I voted for that." So yeah, in a way, I kind of wish that they kept that in because that would have been absolutely fantastic. But they are opening the Oscars with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande doing a Wicked performance, which I think makes absolute sense since they cannot get any song nominations because it's all pre-written stuff. And actually, if anyone here watches the Tony Awards, it was just announced that Cynthia Erivo will be hosting the Tony Awards, so that will be quite good as well. I really enjoyed her performance at the SNL. I believe it was the SNL concert. No, it was the Grammys. Sorry. I've been watching a lot of music stuff. It was the Grammys. Cynthia Erivo did a duet with Herbie Hancock that was quite good for Quincy Jones. I really enjoyed that. Let's see. Luke, here we are. I would swap out Jacques Audiard for Best Director with Robert. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an option. I think what we've learned, Luke, is that like there are many much better choices and many choices that would have been a better fit than Jacques Audiard. I'm still pissed the Nosferatu cast and some crew members didn't get any credit. Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, and Bill Skarsgård made the movie alone. Yeah. Actually, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe we talked about this like over my last stream, but I feel like Aaron Taylor John was horrible in that movie, and it stuck out so much because everyone else was really good. But yeah, I'm glad it got at least 4 nominations on Nosferatu. I mean, maybe if it had come out earlier in the year, it would have gotten a little bit more. Again, since apparently no one watched anything that they voted for. So, and actually, I think I saw recently on Twitter, someone said that they were voting in the Academy and they didn't vote for Cynthia Erivo for Best Actress because she was too old for the part. And I was like, okay, well, Ariana Grande is also kind of too old for that part, but like on Broadway, they don't cast like actual teenagers. Like I feel like, and actually in Hollywood, a lot of times you cast older people to play younger parts, and they looked fine. They looked great. Like, I don't know. I don't get these people take their votes so lightly, and it's like people actually care about this stuff. Nosferatu deserved way more nominations than. Oh yeah, for sure. Every movie on the planet ever made deserves more nominations than Amelia Perez. I really hope that in hindsight, people are like, "What the?" I mean, if you, let's just pull this up really quickly. Let's do a little Rotten Tomatoes. I'm assuming it hasn't risen at all, and we'll do a little Amelia Perez and see what the hell's going on here. Oh yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, they predicted Anora, which I guess it's the least offensive of them all. Amelia Perez. Out of the ones I didn't care for, I think it's the least offensive in my opinion. So I guess I'd be fine with it, is what I was trying to say. Could you imagine if they announced it and they're like, Amelia Perez, Best Picture? So the critics giving this movie a 72% is a bunch of bullshit. And I think we all know this. So we're not even going to talk about the critic score, because like anyone that watched this movie and actually thought it was good, I my God, watch more movies or watch more musicals. I think that's also the biggest problem, is like people watched it and not to musicals, and they're like, oh, is this what a musical is like? No, it's not. It's not. This is not what a musical should be. It's just like how I felt during Joker 2. Joker 2 was horrendous. Like, I feel like Joker 2 and Amelia Perez are like the same movie. Like, and people are okay with shunning Joker 2, but giving Amelia Perez 13 Oscar nominations, it would be the same exact thing if you had given Joker 2 13 Oscar nominations. By far, the same exact thing. And people would be like, are you guys crazy? It's the same thing. 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. 16%. So I think this has got to be, I think, the biggest difference I've ever seen. I was on a stream a few months back, and it was a Rotten Tomatoes card game stream. I think this will be the best card to put in if they ever do an expansion pack for that game, because having a 16% of audience score and a 72% of critic score is like one of the biggest differences. I think, oh, yeah. Let's see. Cynthia Erivo is having a great few years. Yes, she is. And she's so absolutely talented. Yeah, okay. Yes, I think we got to that. The anonymous ballots people are something else. Yeah. Insane. Taylor Johnson got saddled with a bad character to begin with, so I don't blame him for it. Besides Nocturnal Animals and Nowhere Boy, in my opinion, proof he can act and just excuse me, has a terrible agent. Yeah, he's not. I mean, I agree with you. You know who also has a terrible agent? Ariana DeBose. That girl can't not get a break after she won an Oscar. Like, it was the same Aaron Taylor Johnson film. What was it? Craven the Hunter. She was in. She was just in that film with Ke Huy Quan called Love Hurts that got panned. And there was one other thing that she was in right before Craven that went absolutely nowhere, and it was absolutely horrible. And I feel so bad because it's like she won an Oscar. She's been hosting the Tony Awards, like all this stuff. And then she has like 3 total bombs of movies in a row. And she definitely needs a new agent. Absolutely. Because she's just way too talented for that stuff. It still has a low score amongst all the best. It's of all time. Of all time. Do they realize this? Like, I mean, I know it's a touchy issue, and I cannot believe that Sofia Carla Gascon is actually attending. That was just announced like today or yesterday. She is not sitting it out. She is going to the Oscars. And believe me, I do not care what people say on Twitter. I don't think that should cancel someone at all. But the fact that this movie, that is one of the worst movies ever, got 13 nominations, I think, I'll take anything. I'll take any scandal to bring this movie down at this point. So are people going to boo her when they announce like Best Actress nominations? Like, they're probably like something. It's going to be so awkward and uncomfortable. So, you know what? It'll be entertaining no matter what. It could be the biggest shit show of an Oscars we've ever seen in general. And Conan, like, how is he going to address it? I think he's like so intelligent and so smart, and his comedy is so quick. And he should just use the insult dog, Triumph, the insult dog that he always has. I feel like he should just go up to everyone that was in Amelia Perez and ask them questions and talk to them. That would be like the best thing if they did that. Yeah, if anyone's like an old school Conan fan from like back in the day, Triumph insult is, that would be like the best. And I hope that they do set that up for the red carpet. Triumph the insult dog at the red carpet. We need that, especially this year. It's just too weird of a year. Yeah, 72%. Give me a break. I think someone's blackmailing Guillermo del Toro because he said, yeah. Well, because it's Netflix. Okay. Netflix has hired the same person that used to help Harvey Weinstein with his PR for the Oscars. So Netflix hired this person. I don't know if it was last year or the year before or like how recent it was, but that actually is a fact. And you can totally tell that this person essentially bought Netflix a ton of Oscar nominations. I think it's also very clear when we see in Best Cinematography. I mean, it's not as clear because the cinematographer that did Maria, it's the same director that did Jackie and the Princess Diana film with Kristen Stewart. Those films always look beautiful. I'm like, okay, like cinematography, yeah, I get it, but like, there's like Nickel Boys, come on, like I just. So clearly, whoever they hired that was Harvey Weinstein's right-hand man for the Oscars campaigning is clearly working. But like Netflix really put all their eggs in Amelia Perez, and it's like, does anyone at that studio have taste, or they just like knew what? And I think it's because they knew what the premise was, and they probably didn't watch it, and they were like, you know what, this is going to be a huge hit. They didn't realize how bad it was. Oh, hi, Basement Blues. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just going on a little bit of an Amelia Perez rant because it's just, I cannot even believe it. On Letterboxd, yeah. Oh, on Letterboxd it has the lowest. Honestly, I would bet that it has the lowest Rotten Tomato score too out of every single one, because like no matter how mad, Green Book is, it's not that bad compared to Amelia Perez. Like, and Green Book's not even technically bad. It's just a little too pandering and a little too, we all know, but it's just kind of like, it's still at least a well-made film with like an actual like beginning, middle, end, and like the ending the ending of Amelia Perez is just so bad. So, a lot of people do, actually, Briggs. A lot of people do. If you're a film person, I think people do actually care, because it is the one night to celebrate. It is like the Super Bowl for non-sports people that actually care about films. And this is just the weirdest year. Last year was amazing. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but like last year, the nominees were so good. And I know everyone was complaining about the mainstream movies last year, but like the Oscar movies, it was a great year. Like such a great year. And this year is just one of the worst I've ever seen. But yes, people actually do care. I'm gonna skip down. I'm not gonna stay on too much longer. Just wanted to get some of this out. Even Villeneuve, for whatever reason, stuck his neck out for Perez. Make less sense than Robert Eggers saying he loved Mufasa. Wait, Robert Eggers said he loved Mufasa? That's really hilarious. He must have been like, I don't know. Does he like? It's not like he wants to work for Disney. That's really good. Cheers, Robert Eggers, for saying you loved Mufasa. And that's another director, Barry Jenkins. He's got to get out of that Disney thing. I'm telling you, these auteur directors, they wind up taking a paycheck and they don't realize they're going to spend so much time on these things. I mean, I'm sure Barry Jenkins spent like 3 years on Mufasa. Like, I assume that a film like that would take that long. And like, what do you get for it? He could have made another Oscar winner. You know what I mean? Instead of spending time with a Disney prequel that no one wanted. I'm gonna go back to this just to browse, and I'll wrap it up. Production design, Nosferatu, I'd give it to probably, maybe Wicked, just for production design. I mean, I think people don't realize that most of Wicked was not CGI, which is pretty incredible. Like that poppy field, that was all hand planted. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Let's see. I haven't seen any of the shorts. I've been really behind this year. Sound, visual effects. They'll probably. I personally think the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes visual effects were outstanding. I didn't love the film, but I thought the visual effects really were fantastic. Same with Alien Romulus. I really hope that for original screenplay, I really hope that this goes to Jesse Eisenberg. Like, I really do. I think the script for Real Pain is astronomically better than the Honora script. Like, so much better. So, I mean, I love The Substance, but I don't know if they're going to give that movie anything except for, a win for Demi Moore. I'm pretty much sure, like, to me, Demi Moore is going to get it. I think like 95%. I would be shocked if Mikey Madsen got it, just because of how the other awards turned out. I could be totally wrong and be totally shocked. I just don't really think that Mikey Madsen's there in her career yet, and I don't think that her performance was the best. So, what would I rather do? Give it to a young person that's barely acted that gave an okay performance, or give it to someone who gave an okay performance and has been, in Hollywood for forever? This is like a very different situation than the Jamie Lee Curtis and the Angela Bassett issue. I do personally think, like, I think if you see Jamie Lee Curtis in The Bear season 2, like, or season 1, I should say, like, she is absolutely, maybe it is season 2, the Seven Fishes episode. She is incredible. Like, I do think that Jamie Lee Curtis is an incredible actress. Like, I'm not talking any shit about her acting. It's just what she won for. And I think that, like, out of everything and everything everywhere all at once, I think that her character was just like there, and it worked really well, but I don't think that that's like an Oscar winning performance. Whereas I feel like Angela Bassett, like, was the only, like, I mean, it was a major part of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever film. And I think she gave it her all. And I think, like, she brought some class to Marvel a little bit, like, here's an Oscar winning, or should have been Oscar winning, actress. I don't know. I just think this is a different situation than that, because, like, if this situation is more of, like, I would give it to Demi Moore over Mikey Madsen, more because the film's better, in my opinion. I think The Substance is way superior to Honora in many ways. But also, in that, if you're going to really weigh how long they've been in Hollywood and all that, that's why I would give it to Demi. Let's see. Eggers has kids. Maybe that's why. Well, yeah. I mean, if he's living in a dark world constantly making all these dark films, he probably had a lot of fun at Mufasa. So, Dear Angela Bass, I've seen you on 911. That alone proved you didn't deserve it. 911. I don't know what that is. Reno 911. I don't think I saw her on that. I don't know what that was, but anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I think I've been on a rant long enough now. It's the weird Oscars. R.I.P. challengers. R.I.P. a lot of movies that deserved stuff here. R.I.P. Nickel Boy, Sing Sing. A lot. Yeah, a lot. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. Happy to see Nosferatu here. Happy to see Wild Robot here. Strange year. Let's look forward to next year when it's Coleman Domingo winning for playing Joe Jackson in the Michael Jackson biopic. I think that's, I mean, he's going to be in the conversation. There's no way Coleman Domingo playing that role is going to be incredible. Cool. Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining me here. I'll see you guys soon, and I will be streaming on Tuesday with a group to recap the Oscars, probably around 2 p.m. Eastern. So, but yeah, cheers to Oscar season, and let's have Conan help us get through the night and have copious amounts of alcohol. And yeah, okay, cool. Bye.